everyone, and welcome back to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm Erin Darling, and you're watching the show that brings you the latest movie news, also with insight to what it all means. Joining us, as always, is AMC Editor-in-Chief John Campea.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. Good morning, Erin. Good to see you.
Good morning. Good to see you as well. And also with us today is our very own Dennis Zen.
Hello, guys. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
I wish I could be heading off to Vegas with John, but unfortunately, I will not be.
Trust me, everybody wishes they could go to Vegas with John. Hey, listen, guys. Before we get started on anything, I want to let you know about something that we're doing right now that we started yesterday. We have got 4 really cool Kick-Ass 2 hoodie sweatshirts, zip-up jacket things that you want. Trust me, you do. And we've got a little contest going on right now, and here's how you can get in on it. Email us a picture of yourself. Now, you can email us at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Email us a picture of yourself in some kind of pose. You can wear a costume. You don't have to wear a costume, but in some kind of pose, holding up a sign with your kick-ass superhero name. So send us a picture of you striking a pose, holding a sign with your kick-ass superhero name, and we will select 4 of them and send you these Kick-Ass 2 hoodie shirts. I think you're really going to like them. And this is important. When you email us at amcmovietalk@gmail.com, make sure you put in the subject line Kick-Ass 2. So very important, put in the subject line Kick-Ass 2. If you don't, we might miss your email altogether. So send them on in, and good luck.
If I email you from a different email address with my superhero name and costume,
can
I enter this?
Who's this darling Erin? I don't know. I don't get you.
I'll use my alias. If you're a fan of the Marvel film Thor, then we've got 2 pieces of good news for you. First of all, Thor: The Dark World is set to hit AMC theaters on November 8th, and it's just been announced that the movie will open on AMC 3D IMAX screens a week early on October 30th. What's even more significant is that the director of the new film, Alan Taylor, has revealed that new scenes for the film are still being shot and added, including significant new material for Tom Hiddleston, who plays Thor's brother Loki, and Anthony Hopkins as Odin. So, John, do you think it's significant that Taylor is shooting more scenes just 2.5 months away from the movie's release?
I think it is significant, actually, and I'm hoping, look, I have nothing to base this on. This is simply a fanboy's hope. What I hope that this means is I've had this theory for a while now that, once again, based on nothing, I've had a theory that Loki dies in the next Thor film. And what I'm hoping, this whole scenario that I'm playing out in my own imaginary world in my head, is that they were going to have Loki die, and now they thought better of it, and they're shooting new scenes to not have Loki die. But anything that they do to put in more Anthony Hopkins as Odin and more Tom Hiddleston as Loki is a big win for me. Now, look, Taylor's also said before that he's watched Marvel for a while now, because they've had him on to observe what they're doing with Iron Man 3 and everything. And he said Kevin Feige, the head chief honcho over at Marvel Studios, says he likes to work. He said they literally have to pry the movie out of his hands to get it to the screens. He likes to work on films and improve them right up until the last second. So yes, even though the film is opening in like 2 months, and it is pretty close, Marvel, this is their track record. This is what they do. They work on these things and try to improve them, try to think of ways to make them better right up to the last second and send them out. So I'm not really concerned about that. And I'm quite excited that they're adding more, Odin and more Loki. I think it's great. Dennis, how do you see it?
Yeah, I'm not concerned with the reshoots either. I mean, sometimes a lot of people get scared when they hear reshoots because they're like, oh my God, the movie's a mess, and they gotta, and sometimes that's true. But I didn't hear the words extensive reshoots, and also they seem to have a purpose with this.
We never heard the word "we've got to salvage this."
Reshoots are normal. I mean, Lord of the Rings had reshoots. The Hobbit had reshoots. So I think, if they have a purpose and focus with it, I don't think it's a bad thing. And adding more Loki, I think can only help the movie.
And a really good example of that modern is World War Z, which we were just talking about off camera. World War Z was a film that was a very, very different movie when they finished shooting it, and they realized they thought of about 20 different ways to make that movie better. And when the DVD comes out or the Blu-ray comes out, I'm going to be very interested to watch the behind-the-scenes stuff, because when you know how the original cut of the movie went, and then you saw the theatrical version, they are 2 very different movies. And this is a great example of when reshoots actually led to a much better film. So it can be a good thing.
Did you see the whole thing? The original?
No. I read the original though. I read the whole script of the original, and it's a totally different movie, completely different movie. It's crazy how much they changed.
Movie magic. Yep. Gotta love it. So with the proliferation of superhero movies, one character that stands extremely conspicuous by her absence is the third member of the DC Trinity, Wonder Woman. And fans aren't the only ones who notice it and wonder why such a rich character hasn't been brought to the big screen yet. MMA fighter turned actress Gina Carano, who has starred in films like Haywire and Fast and the Furious 6, recently spoke out about the character, saying the following: "That's the ultimate superhero for a woman. No matter what, no matter who ends up being Wonder Woman someday, I just hope it's something that is done correctly. I know it's there and that it could definitely be done correctly. It's just a matter of getting the right people and having the right vision come together. A director and producer and writer have to see the beauty in it and make it real." So John, what do you think of Gina Carano's comments, and considering she's been kind of a fan favorite for the role, do you think she'll end up playing Wonder Woman one day?
Well, first of all, I think she's incredibly astute with her comments. She's absolutely bang on. I mean, I have talked about my reasons why I understand why Warner Brothers is really hesitant and why they're slow to bring Wonder Woman. I think fans need to be more understanding because there is a lot of baggage that we have leading up to it. But just because I understand their hesitation, that doesn't mean I don't think Wonder Woman is absolutely a character that deserves, nay, needs to be on the big screen. This is a rich, deep, wonderful character that I think we absolutely have to have, and Carano's absolutely right about that. Now, that being said, Carano here never said that she was in the running for it. It's just that a lot of fans have often speculated about Gina Carano being in it, and primarily because of her athleticism. She is a beautiful woman who's also one of the toughest human beings on the planet, male or female. So obviously there's an attraction there to see Gina Carano as a Wonder Woman. However, my one big problem with Gina, and I love seeing her in films. I love seeing her in Fast and Furious 6. I love seeing her in Haywire. But keep this in mind. In both Fast and the Furious 6 and in Haywire, the amount of acting she was actually asked to do was extremely limited because she is not an actress yet. She's not there. Gina Carano at this point, as much as I love her and I'm looking forward to seeing her more and more stuff growing and growing and growing, let's just call it what it is. She is not capable of carrying a Hollywood motion picture. She's just not. And it's actually kind of dismaying to me when I see the rampant lack of respect for the art of acting that we see in the fan community. Because a lot of times, I've read these comments. I remember this came up with Scott Adkins. A lot of people want to see Scott Adkins as Batman. He's got the look. He's obviously got the physicality. He's a huge monstrous beast. He can kick all kinds of ass. He's huge. He's a martial artist. All that kind of stuff. But he can't act. You know, and I'm not saying he can't act, but he is not to the level of an actor that can follow in the shoes of a Christian Bale, of a Michael Keaton, of a George Clooney. He just can't. He's not a legit actor who can carry, forget a superhero film, he cannot carry a Hollywood motion picture. And when I try to bring that point up, I get people emailing saying, oh, don't worry about it. Just you know, the movie won't shoot for another year or two. Just give him some acting lessons. It's like the amount of disrespect that we as a fan community show the art of acting is crazy. You have to respect that first and foremost. The person needs to be able to be a lead Hollywood actor. Gina Carano ain't there yet. Scott Adkins ain't there yet. So I don't think we're going to see either one of those two in those roles for that reason. But I absolutely agree with Carano's sentiments. I think she's articulated it really well. I think she's absolutely right. Dennis?
When she says looking for like the right director and producer, when I hear director, I think all I can think of is just Joss Whedon. just you know, because a strong female character, because that's what he does so well. I like the things she said. I don't think she's right for the role, and for the reasons that you say, she's not an actress, and it's different. Even if she did do a good job, let's say in Fast and the Furious and Haywire, for those little scenes that she actually had dialogued or had to act, it's not the same as carrying a whole movie.
Exactly.
It's a different animal, a different beast. I also, when I think of Wonder Woman, I would love to see Jaimie Alexander. I think she has the right look.
Oh my gosh,
she just needs the bulk up. I remember seeing her on the Last Stand red carpet. And she was kind of really skinny. So
she looks really frail. She's beautiful.
Yes,
but she looks kind of frail.
But I think she has the right look and feel for it.
You know, it's funny you bring up Joss Whedon, because Joss Whedon, of course, understanding nobody is better in Hollywood at writing strong female and likable female characters than Joss Whedon. He wrote a script I mean, they had him on board developing a Wonder Woman movie years ago, and he wrote a Wonder Woman script. Everybody knows how much of a Joss Whedon worshiper I am, right? Not Joss's best work. So don't lament too much that Joss Whedon's Wonder Woman didn't get made. That's all I'm going to say.
I love the idea of Jaimie Alexander, though. And I love also the fact about her that she wants that type of career. She wants to be an action star. And I respect that. I think she could do a really good job.
All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show for buy and sell. Here's how this is going to work. In front of her, Erin's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down, and then Dennis and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Erin, what do we have?
Well, one of the many big films slated for release in 2015 is the fourth installment of the Jurassic Park franchise. The director of the new film, Colin Trevorrow, was recently interviewed about the new film and shed some light on some rumors, including that Jurassic Park 4 would feature human-controlled and trained T-Rexes and velociraptors. And trained? How are you going to train that?
Good question.
But he said the following: I saw some of the rumors on the internet, and I would have all kinds of red flags going off if I heard that they were going to muzzle a T-Rex. So I would say, don't believe everything you read. There are way more insiders on the internet than there are in real life. So Dennis, buy or sell these comments?
I'm going to sell the comments, but not because I don't think he's telling the truth, but just because when I hear those rumors, all I can think of is like Jaeger-style humans like controlling the T-Rexes. So I wish that would happen in Jurassic Park 4.
I'm going to go opposite of Dennis on this. I'm going to buy this because I don't want to see that personally. But there are a lot of people who do, actually. For me, no. I want to see the T-Rex and the Velociraptors in their own fully self-controlled, wildness and ferocity. So I like what I'm hearing him say. He also made some other comments, too, because he talked about his passion for this film. He's actually very passionate. He doesn't just see doing Jurassic Park 4 as a stepping stone. He's not just doing it for a paycheck. He goes, I am passionate about Jurassic Park. I want to make the best kick-ass Jurassic Park film that I can. And I love hearing that. So yeah, overall, I really I buy his comments.
All right. I think it's kind of ridiculous. But I would love to see someone train a velociraptor. All right, next up, the new Simon Pegg and Nick Frost film, The World's End, directed by Edgar Wright, opens in AMC theaters everywhere next week on August 23rd. These three previously worked together on Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz. Yesterday, Simon Pegg took to his Twitter account to post this picture of himself at Marvel Studios and pointing at a picture of Ant-Man, which just so happens is going to be directed by Edgar Wright. So, John, buy or sell? Do you think this picture means anything about Simon Pegg and this new movie?
I sell it, although this is one of those things where, sometimes these ridiculous rumors start circulating around that have no basis in fact. This is one of the things where you can understand why a rumor would start going. Because, you get the guy, he's not just standing in front of a picture of Ant-Man, he's standing there pointing at the picture of Ant-Man, and of course his close relationship with Edgar Wright. And I actually think that would be a great fit. I think a Simon Pegg would fit so well into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I really do. Not that he'd be my first choice for Ant-Man, but if you were to tell me he's been cast as Ant-Man, I'd be all for it. But I think this clearly doesn't mean much. He was also photographed on that same day in front of a statue of the Hulk. He was photographed with Thor's hammer. And he even came out and said, look, I'm just pointing at a thing in support of my dear friend who's doing a movie. So while I would be all for it, I got to sell it. Dennis?
I sell it as well. It's not significant. I think he's just playing off of Vin Diesel. Vin Diesel.
I was thinking that.
He's throwing out, just, hey, let's just start a bunch of rumors with my name attached to it. So I don't think it means anything. It would be cool, but yeah, it's no big deal.
All right.
All right. Was there a caption to that, by the way?
No caption. No caption that I know of. I don't think.
Him and Vin Diesel.
I think
they love it.
Just put in his tweet, "Great day at Marvel." I think that was it. So nothing significant.
All right. Well, speaking of films coming out in 2015, the new video game adaptation, Assassin's Creed, has just taken its next step and is being reworked. Well, the script is being reworked by writer Scott Frank. Now, Frank has previously worked on screenplays for films such as Out of Sight, Minority Report, and the most recent, The Wolverine. Michael Fassbender will produce and star in the film. So, Dennis, buy or sell? Scott Frank's coming to work on Assassin's Creed.
I buy it. I'm a fan of Scott Frank. I'm also maybe biased because he went to the same film school as I did, UC Santa Barbara, so many years before I did. So I buy it.
Yeah, I gotta buy this too. I think this guy, he's also written some, like, I think he did Marley and Me and one or two others, but his work on Minority Report, this Wolverine film was a vast improvement over the last one. I think this is a good move. It's always good to bring in some new talent to take a look at the script, so for me, it's a buy.
A new trailer for the upcoming Adam Scott film, A.C.O.D, Adult Children of Divorce, has hit the web, and you can see a link to the trailer in the video description below. The film stars Adam Scott, Richard Jenkins, Catherine O'Hara, Amy Poehler, Jessica Alba, Jane Lynch, Clark Duke, and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. A.C.O.D follows Carter, a seemingly well-adjusted adult child of divorce. Having survived the madness of his parents' divorce, Carter now has a successful career and supportive girlfriend. But when his younger brother gets engaged, Carter is forced to reunite his bitterly divorced parents for the wedding, causing the chaos of his childhood to return. So, John, buy or sell this trailer for A.C.O.D?
I buy it. I think this looks wonderful. I'm a big Adam Scott fan, actually. I love him in everything that we see him in. It's really cool seeing Clark Duke in there as well. I think this is going to be a really nice role for him. But it's also kind of cool seeing him, Adam and, of course, Amy Poehler both play in Parks and Recreation, probably my favorite sitcom on TV right now. So it's good to see them together. But also a lot of people forget that Richard Jenkins, who's playing his father, was his stepfather in Step Brothers. So they have worked together before, too. They have some great on-screen chemistry. I think the trailer is really funny and subtle at the same time. I'm looking forward to it. For me, it's a big buy. Dennis?
I buy it. I like the trailer. I didn't love it, but the cast is great. I like Adam Scott as well. And the whole, Jane Lynch, Amy Poehler, Clark Duke, everyone in it. Well, did you guys notice that the song that was playing in the trailer kind of sounded like a ripoff of Philip's Home?
Oh my gosh.
Listen to it.
Get that song out of here. I'm so done with that. But that's hilarious. So we all know that at some point, Robert Downey Jr. is going to step down as Iron Man from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that will be a very sad day. And it seems one actor is more than willing to throw his hat in the ring to be the next Tony Stark when that day comes. In a recent interview, Academy Award-nominated actor Mark Wahlberg made this interesting statement. I would like to take over the Iron Man franchise for Robert Downey, but it's one of those things where I kind of like playing real people, so I've never been asked. That's kind of a weird comment. But Dennis, so buy or sell the idea of Marky Mark playing the new Tony Stark?
I had to sell. I had to sell. I like Marky Mark. I think he's actually a pretty good actor, but his persona and the roles that he's done, and I haven't seen anything in his performances that would lead him to be a Tony Stark type character at all. So yeah, I have to sell it big.
Surprisingly, I'm going to buy this.
Really?
Now, would Mark Wahlberg be my first choice? No. But I've seen him do some really great comedic work in the last couple of years, whereas more than a few years ago, I wasn't so sold on his comedic work. He's winning me over with his comedic work. We've seen him play dead hardcore serious. He's capable of being a lot more physical than Robert Downey Jr. is. Not at all that he could be a better Tony Stark, but I think he would be a very interesting choice to be a Tony Stark. Now, let's not start any rumors that Mark Wahlberg is up to do it. Not at all. Nobody's saying that. This is just Wahlberg saying that he'd be interested in it if it were offered to him. But yeah, for me, very curiously, it's going to be a buy. All right, folks, we reached that part of the show for Mailbag. Here's how this works. If you've got a comment or a question you would like us to address on the show, you can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. Every day we pull just a couple of questions out of the mailbag to address. Right now, Aaron's got a few of them pulled out. So, Aaron, what do we have?
Chris Snyder writes, "Greetings and salutations, movie talkers. Love the show. You guys are all great hosts. My question is, why isn't AMC Movie Talk a daily half-hour TV series? I would love to see it, personally. Has that ever been in talks or considered? Thanks."
Thanks a lot for the question, Chris. Actually, both of our questions today are kind of more of the behind-the-scenes stuff here at AMC Movie Talk. We have been approached in the past by certain television entities, if you will, about maybe looking at doing an AMC Movie Talk on the network. However, I am not interested at all in putting AMC Movie Talk on TV, and here's why. Because as soon as we put it on TV, somebody else has their fingers in the pie. I only like my own finger in my own pie. That I know sounds wrong in many ways, but follow me here. I don't like having anybody else being able to tell me what we can and cannot do, or when we have to do something, or what we're going to do. I'm a control freak that way, and I was telling Aaron about this earlier. I'm trying to get over that, but no, I'm not interested in having anybody else having a say in what we do on AMC Movie Talk. I want us to have the freedom to do what we do. AMC gives that to us. AMC is awesome at it, and so not interested in it. Dennis, am I frustrating you by by turning down overtures to be on TV, or is this where you want us to be?
No, I think the internet is a great medium. I think it's
Agreed.
Part of the future of television. I think television and the internet are going to merge, and eventually, you're going to see channels of like on YouTube be actually the real channels.
Yeah,
and
agreed.
so I don't see the point in trying to go to a traditional TV market when eventually we're just going to come back to the same spot.
Totally agree.
Our next question comes from Melissa Warner, who writes, "Hi, John and crew. I love the show. The saddest part of my day is when John says bye-bye." Aw, that's sweet. Anyway, I've noticed in the last year or so, a lot of YouTube movie critics have popped up, and most of them use this fast edit style, where they say 5 words and then cut edit to them saying another 5 words and so on. What do you think about this style, John?
I hate it. I hate it so much. And look, there are exceptions to everything, and I'll get to a couple of exceptions here in a second. But you know what they're talking about, right? It's where somebody who isn't intelligent enough to know how to actually speak in sentences, and they don't have enough knowledge to actually communicate, so they have to, okay, say these 5 words, blah, blah, blah. Now what's the next fact? Now say the next 5 words and cut it. So basically what happens is their videos look like this. Now they're over here. Now they're talking, and it's garbage. I hate that. It's lazy. It tells me that the person isn't smart enough to know how to communicate. Once in a while, we'll be doing this show, and when we do this show, it's unscripted. And we often are trying to pull up like 100 different facts in our heads on the fly as Dennis and I are talking, or Amy Rose, or John Schnepp, or whatever. We're just talking off the cuff. And every once in a while, you'll see me go, and I also love that movie because it starred, oh, damn it, what's his name? And you'll see me freeze, and people go, John doesn't even know who starred in that. Yes, I do. I just had a brain freeze because I like talking flow in conversation, not in, if I wanted to say 5 words, stop, get the next fact. Say the next 5 words, get the next fact. I think it shows laziness. I think it shows that the people don't actually know what they're talking about. And it's just garbage. And I'm open to trying different things. About 5 years ago, I did 2 movie reviews in that style. And I did them, and I sat back and I looked at them and I said, wow, I look like a jackass. And I decided not to do that anymore. It sucks. I really hate it. Now, just because I hate it doesn't mean that everybody should hate it. It's just not for me. That's just how it strikes me. I hate it. But there are exceptions. For example, there's this one film critic on YouTube. I never know if I'm pronouncing his name, but Jaimie Johns, I think is. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
And this is a dude who, he does that terrible, terrible style. But when I watch some of his reviews anyway, because when I'm watching him, I get the feeling this guy actually knows what he's talking about. He's got some really insightful points, and therefore I like watching it. I would just watch the dude a lot more if he would show that he knows what he's talking about, because I get the feeling he really does. And he makes some great points, and he raises some really good insight. I just hate that style. So I would prefer seeing him just do a 10-minute sit down, as opposed to a 3-minute of blah, 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 blah. As opposed to that, just seeing a 10-minute thing of him sitting down and just talking to the camera and giving his insight. But Jaimie Johns is an example of a guy who's been really successful on YouTube with it, right? So what's most important is not to do what John thinks is the right thing to do. Normally in life it is, kids, just to let you know. But the most important thing is not to do what John says is the right thing. The most important thing is to do what works for you. And for a guy like Jaimie Johns, who clearly does know what he's talking about, and he's insightful, he knows how to communicate, if he says that's what's the style that works best for him, then that's what he should go with. But for me personally, what was her name, Melissa? I completely agree with you. I get so sick and tired because it seems like everybody's doing it, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody's just doing this quick edit, blah, 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 and it just drives me nuts. Dennis, you've been really involved in the YouTube space longer than I have. Like, do you see the same trend? What do you think of that whole style of doing shows online?
It's not a recent trend, though. I mean, it's been around for a while. Yeah. I know she asked, it's been in the last year, but it's been around for a while. And the problem is a lot of the top YouTubers have been flourishing with that style. Personally, yeah, sometimes it can work, sometimes it doesn't. I think usually what it is people are just hiding cuts. That's all it is. What they're doing is they're popping like, okay, they read something, they messed up, and so they cut to another angle. And I think it can work if it's paced right and it's done in like certain segments. But when it's like every sentence, then I think it's terrible. So
yeah, but and once again, I know you feel the same way about this that I do. Is that it doesn't work for us.
No. Not at
but
all.
that doesn't mean, that my sister wouldn't appreciate watching something like that or somebody else. And, that's the most important thing is finding what works for you. And as an audience member, if that type of content appeals to you, then awesome. That's great. It just doesn't work for me on any level, but that's just me. All right, folks, well, we've reached the end of our show today. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, we would love for you to become one of our subscribers on our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It will keep you up to date on everything going on in the world of movie news and, of course, our daily AMC Movie Talk show and our weekend AMC Mailbag show. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Facebook. And if you want an audio-only version of this episode, look in the description of this video. You'll find links to our iTunes and our Stitcher Radio. And don't forget, we want you to be wearing one of those Kick-Ass 2 hoodies. So email us the best picture you can of you striking your heroic pose, holding up a sign with your Kick-Ass superhero name. Send it to us at amcmovietalk@gmail.com with Kick-Ass 2 in the subject line. That's very important. I want to thank, as always, our very lovely host today, Miss Erin Darling. Erin, where can people find you online?
I'm on Twitter at Erin A. Darling, Facebook, Erin Darling fan page, and YouTube, Erin Ashley D.
The one and the only Mr. Dennis Zen. Dennis, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero and my name on Facebook.
And you can find me at my name on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or wherever you'd like to find me. Thank you so much for joining us, folks. My name's John Campea for AMC Movie News, and until next time, bye-bye.